I felt like I was free again, and it was really nice because I didn't think about anything else except where I was going and feeling the bike, and it felt like an old friend.
Wayne, welcome to Bennett's Bike Social. Thank you very much for joining us. It's an honour of mine to speak to somebody like yourself, so thank you very much for joining us. Firstly, how nice is it to be back in the UK and be back within this Goodwood paddock?
Well, it's my first visit to Goodwood. What an amazing event. I have only just seen a little bit of the festival. But what I have seen has just been absolutely spectacular. And of course, the fans in Britain are motorsports mad, so you don't have to explain anything. Most of the time, they tell you what's going on, so I prefer that.
We saw you earlier on riding up the hill, and it got quite an emotional moment for everybody that I was stood near. But what kind of emotions did you get getting back on that 92 winning World Championship 500?
Yeah, it was an emotion that I could not think about or knew what that was going to be like until I was actually on the bike. And they took it off the stand, and then it was in gear, and I took off. It was like, wow, it felt right. I felt like I was free again, and it was really nice because I didn't think about anything else except where I was going and feeling the bike, and it felt like an old friend. So I really truly enjoyed it.
Did you ever think it'd be possible to ride it ever again? Did you ever think somewhere down the line that there may be a chance that I get to ride it again?
Well, you know, when I was first injured a few weeks, as I was still in hospital, there was a thought that I had that got me through a couple weeks, and that was wanting to get back on the GP bike. But you know, those feelings and thoughts faded pretty quick, and pretty soon it was not even a thought again. So it's been 25 years really since I ever thought I'd have a chance. And then when this opportunity happened with you know, the Duke of Richmond putting this on and making it all happen, then I got excited about it. And Yamaha was able to step up, and they took the bike out of a museum that was there for 30 years and made it adaptable for me. And here we are.
What's it like being around your racing rivals again, people like Mick and Kevin, and obviously with Kenny here as well? What's it like? Is there still a bit of rivalry there, or is it real good friendship?
Well, you know, Kenny I see quite a lot, so that's always easy. I haven't seen Kevin and Mick yet. This is Thursday, so I guess when I see them tomorrow, I'm sure it'll be much easier, more relaxed than it was last time we lined up with our leathers on.
If you could go back to one moment of the career that you had, the special career that you had, to sort of relive it, which one would it be? Or do you have many moments that you would like to go back and relive?
You know, sometimes I get asked that question, and it's probably not what you would think, but the things that I would like to do over is some of the finishes of the races that I lost. You know, there's a couple of them that I wish I could have the last lap over. Those work on me more than, you know, any of the good times of winning. So it's funny. I would think more about a finish that I let get away than. But it's very rarely though that pops into my mind. You know what? I raced 25 years, 6 years in Grand Prix, won 3 World Championships, and I was pretty satisfied with that.
The next question that we've got: what are your current feelings on the current state of MotoGP at the moment? Do you think it's getting a little bit stale? Is it boring? But is it the best that you think it's ever been?
You know, I tune in for all the races. You know, I'm a big fan. I hope for a good battle between the riders. As far as, you know, I would like to see the bikes a bit more lively, but you know, I think they have over 300 horsepower now. I think you would need these electronics at some stage to keep the bikes on the track. So, but I think they've done a good job, you know, managing the horsepower and the torque, tire performance, and you know, like I said before, there's not many high sides, and that's really the most important part.
Does the level of technology in GPs amaze you, or are you always just going to be a two-stroke man?
No, you know, I'm always for, you know, evolution, and you know, of course I rode 2 strokes without the electronics, and that's what they were then. But when they brought 4-strokes on, you know, that changed everything, and then there was a big investment into the electronics that creates lap time. And you know, and especially now they have so many riders that are all within a half a second. So you have to have your stuff together. And if you don't, you're mid-pack. So, you know, back in my day, I could get up to the quick guys pretty good, but running with those guys is just as difficult as it is running with the current guys when they get up to those riders. So none of that's changed.
Do you think you'd have been able to cope in the modern day era as a rider?
I think so.
Last night I was on the phone to my dad coming down here, and my dad visited the transatlantic trophy races years ago at a place like Alton Park, and remembers you going over Clay Hill and things like that. And what memories do you have of the transatlantic races? Because from the videos that I watched on YouTube last night, it was pretty amazing.
Probably what you saw in that video last night. It was intense battling with Kevin. You'd never know we were on the same team, but I don't think we ever really thought we were on the same team. It was always me against him, and I'm sure he thought the same way. We had to beat each other no matter who else was on the track, rival or foe. So that's the way it was till the end.
Would you like to see it come back? Because this is a request from my dad. He wants it to come back.
Sure, why not? I'm sure if we line up tomorrow, I'll try to get the whole shot.
As in a latest version of the transatlantic series, obviously with you working
transatlantic.
You working in obviously Moto America and the links with BSB.
Yes.
Would you like to see it come back?
Yes, I really would. You know, I think Moto America. You know, we've come from the series was a long way down from where it was back when Kevin and I and Kenny and Freddie raced. So to try to get it competitive again, to create some interest. I mean, we're starting on 8 years now. And now we're starting to see some of the international GP guys actually coming into the series. And the American riders or the Moto America riders are very competitive. I mean, no matter who the GP guy that comes and race, they got their hands full. So I think the championship, as far as the level of talent, there's a few guys that are very good. We still got to work on the base some more, but we're working on it.
Do you think racing against some of the British guys in BSB, Bennett's BSB, do you think it could potentially push them on as younger riders and get them into the GP stage ultimately where you want them to be?
Yeah, I mean that's the key. You know, that's what when we started there was just a couple teams. I think we had 65 riders on a weekend. The last event we had 240. So you know we have a few classes, so you can start in the old volley mini bike class and race up into superbike. And you know we run our events just like the MotoGP does as far as the structure and the way the times work and the qualifying and things like that. So if they ever do get the chance to go abroad, it's not something new. So yeah, I think it's all coming, but you know it's bloody expensive to go racing in the States. You know, it's not like if we were just racing in Great Britain, it'd be about the size of California. That would be a heck of a lot easier on the team's budgets. But when you race 3,000 miles distance between each event, that can be a budget buster. So, but that's just the way it is in the States. So it's not going to change.
Well, as title sponsor of BSB, we'll try and make it work to get the transatlantic trophies back.
We would welcome it very much. We'll be there.
Which ones of the British tracks did you enjoy the most? Was it Donington Park, Silverstone, Alton Park, Mallory Park? Which ones do you remember as being the biggest eye-openers for you?
You know, I raced Silverstone in '84, and I think they changed the tracks. Silverstone was an amazing racetrack back in 1984. I would love to race there again. I won my first Grand Prix at Donington Park, so that was always very special to me, even though I wasn't a big fan of the track. But Brands Hatch, though, is a real racetrack. I love the short circuit there, and boy, you could really race hard there. That was one of my favorites.
I wasn't expecting you to say Brands Hatch Indy. That's surprised me, that one.
Watch the video.
How are you finding the role within Moto America? Are you really enjoying it? Do you feel like you're thriving within yourself?
You know, this is something that needed to happen, and I have 3 partners that think the same way, and without them, we certainly couldn't be where we're at. So, you know, we all thought that, you know, looking at when they had MotoGP at Laguna Seca, and I was thinking, where's the American talent? And then you see how many of the Spanish and the Italians, and even, you know, the British, you know, everybody's invested in their championship, and that was something that was lacking in the U.S. So we thought we'd have a go, and it's been 8 years. It's been I've learned a lot on this side of the fence. You know, as a rider, you show up, you put your helmet on, you work with your team, you get your bike as close as you can, but on Sunday, you know if you did your job perfect or not. But on the other side of the fence now, running the championship, it's never Sunday. You're always working on it. You know, in America, we have to book and lease all the tracks, so we depend a lot on sponsorship and ticket sales, and you know, now we even have Harley Davidson and Indian baggers going around the track. But it's brought a lot of new people to the championship. So you have to be creative.
So last couple of questions from me before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your day. What's the most prized possession that you've got from your career? And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be a bike. It can be a set of boots, a helmet, a leathers, anything.
That's interesting. My most prized possession. I'd have to say probably my first World Championship GP bike. After I was injured in 1993, I was in hospital for 11 weeks. And when they brought me back home to my home that I had not seen in all that time, you know, in this new life that I was starting to live and certainly didn't understand at all. And we drove up my drive, there was a crate sitting in the front porch where the front door is, and it was my bike. And from my 1990 World Championship, it was the first bike Yamaha had ever given away to a racer. So that made my whole career there.
Fantastic. Just finally then, if I could take you back and there's a young Wayne Rainey sat in front of you now, what would you say to that young Wayne Rainey? Any piece of advice that you've been given over the years that would help that young Wayne Rainey progress and be the person that you were and you are today?
You know, I haven't looked back very often, and when I think about that young Wayne Rainey sitting in a classroom at school and daydreaming and not getting my lessons done right, but only thinking of the feeling of what it was like to race a motorcycle. And you know, I was only 11 years old then. If there was anything I could do is never forget that feeling. Do it for the fun. And I think when you stop enjoying racing is when you certainly have to figure out a different way to make it fun again. But I think that's what racers have to realize, is that you have to do it because you love it. And there's nothing like the feeling of a bike is when you put your helmet on, your leathers on, and you're all prepared, and you're going to race against the very best in the world or in your local championship, is that you are properly prepared and you want to go out there and give it your all. I mean, when I jumped on that bike today, I had my helmet on, that was the first time in that just a couple of minutes that I did not think about what was going on in the world. It was awesome.
Well, Wayne Rainey, thank you very much for your time. On behalf of everyone at Benetton Bike Social, it's fantastic to see you in the UK and it's fantastic to see you back on the bike. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.